everyone. In today's video, we are going to learn about Dynamic Source Routing Protocol. It is an on-demand routing protocol. Means it will calculate the route from the source node to destination node because of a demand. Whether it may be for transmission cause or any other cause, it will calculate at that point. It is designed to restrict the bandwidth consumed by control packets in ad hoc wireless networks by eliminating the periodic table update messages required in the table-driven approach. In table-driven approach, for example, if you consider DSDV, that is Destination Sequence Distance Vector Routing Protocol, there we have to generate update messages, so which will consume bandwidth, right? So there is no need to do like that in this protocol. The major difference between this and the other on-demand routing protocols is that it is beaconless. Beacon means hello packet. Beaconless and hence does not require periodic hello packet transmissions which are used by the node to inform its neighbors of its presence. If you want your classmates to recognize you, what will you do? You'll just make them recognize you, right? So by saying hello, you will do that. Same procedure here also we will follow. Here the nodes will say hello to, nodes will send the hello packets to other nodes in order to make it recognized by others. The basic approach of this protocol during the route construction phase is to establish a route by flooding route request packets in the network. Here we have this route construction phase. Why we have this route construction phase? As there is no route previously. In on-demand protocols, we need to construct route. As I have already told you, because of the demand, they'll construct the route. I mean, this from source to destination route. Route construction phase is to establish a route by flooding. Here the word flooding is used. Flooding means nothing but flooding means what? At the same time or at the same instant of time or similar instance of time, all the water come. What is meant by flood normally? Flood means what? All the water from the river will come out of it and it will just fill the entire area or entire city, right? So flooding means here, I'll tell you with an example. Consider this. Here, let us consider this is the node 1. Flooding means node 1 will send route request or any other packet at a time to its neighboring nodes. See, node 1 will send the packet, whether it may be a route request or some other packet. Flooding means a source node will send or any other node will send its packet at the same time to more number of nodes. Here the node 1 will send the route request packet to node 2, node 5, node 6 at the same time. See, this orange line indicates route request packet sent. I hope you understand it. See, by flooding the route request packets in the network, we are establishing this route construction phase. The sender node will send the route request packet to all other nodes. It will ultimately reach the destination node, right? When the destination node gets that route request packet, the destination node will send route reply packet which contains the address of the destination node. And how it is calculated? That is the route traversed by the route request packet received. See, this route request packet will be traveled from intermediate nodes to the destination node, right? So it will contain the route. This route reply packet will contain the route that is traversed by the route request packet. How will the route request packet recognize whether the node is a destination or an intermediate node? See, the destination information or address will be there in this route request packet. Next point. Consider a source node. let us consider a source node that does not have a route to the destination. Means it doesn't know anything about the destination except for its address. When it has data packets to be sent to the destination, it initiates a route request packet. I mean, it will start the route construction phase. This route request packet is flooded throughout the network, right? As I have told you earlier, each node, upon receiving a route request packet, rebroadcasts the packet to its neighbors if it has not forwarded already. Means the neighboring nodes, I mean the intermediate nodes, will just do the same procedure as the source node. I'll tell you with this example. See, here the node 1 has flooded the route request packet to its neighbors 6, 5, 2 nodes, right? Here the node 2 will flood that route request packet to its neighbors 3 and 4. This is the procedure they will follow, I mean in this protocol. Each node, upon receiving a route request packet, rebroadcasts the packet to its neighbors if it hasn't forwarded already, or if the node is not the destination node, provided the packet's time to live. There is a time to live counter here. See, it just can't simply forward the route request packet all the time, right? So there must be a time limit. So time to live counter is there here in order to, you see, in order to find out whatever operation is done quickly. Each route request carries a sequence number generated by the source node. Here the sequence number means nothing but a random number. It is just maybe 1102, 1202, like that, a random number which is generated by the source node and the path it has traversed. And the path it has traversed means when a route request packet reaches the another node, I mean new node, the sequence number gets higher, means it gets incremented. A node, upon receiving a route request packet, checks the sequence number on the packet before forwarding it. It will check it because to ensure that whether the route sequence number is the highest one or not. The packet is forwarded only if the route request is not duplicate. How will we identify whether the route request packet is a duplicate one or the original one? Based on the sequence number. The sequence number on the packet is used to prevent the loop formation and to avoid multiple transmissions of the same route request packet by an intermediate node that receives it through multiple paths. Thus, all the nodes except the destination node forwards a route request packet during the route construction phase. See, I'll tell you how this happens. For example, let us consider here 4. Node 4. Node 4 receives the route request packet which has been sent by source node from node 2 and node 5 as well, right? Here, it doesn't know which one is the correct one or which one is the duplicate one, simply without sequence number, right? So these may lead to multiple transmissions of the same route request packet, right? This is what I'm talking in this point, in this previous point. A destination node, after receiving the first route request packet, replies to the source node through the reverse path, means the path which has been traversed by the route request packet. Route cache. Route cache means it's just a memory. As you all know, cache memory. Here we have route cache is used during the route construction phase. It maintains the active links, not the broken links. Broken links means nodes which have due to mobility they have just parted, those nodes. Optimizations. During the network partitions, the affected nodes initiates route request packets. Affected nodes in the sense the nodes which have broken links, those are affected nodes here. If optimization is not allowed in the DSR, dynamic source routing protocol, the root construction phase is very simple. All the intermediate nodes flood the root request packet if it is not redundant. Redundant means same repeated one. Consider the figure 1 means a previous figure. After receiving the root request packet from node 1, all its neighboring nodes, that is nodes 2, 5, 6 forwards it. Node 4 receives the root request packet from both nodes 2 and 5. Node 4 forwards the first root request packet it receives from any one of the nodes 2 and 5 and discards the other redundant root request packet. The root request is propagated till it reaches the destination, which initiates the root reply. I'll explain you again. Here, let us consider the same example, root establishment in DSR. In WSN, wireless sensor networks, this diagram is mandatory for every protocol which you read in this subject. It's not just a joke, it is important to draw this diagram in exams also. See, here node 1 is our source node and 15 node, it is our destination. Destination node. See, source node 1 sends the root request packets to its neighboring nodes, that is 2, 5, 6. And this second node sends root request packet to node 4. And even this node 5 sends root request packet to 4, right? If this node sends root request packet early, then this node 4 will receive that packet and it will discard this packet as it has sent a little bit late. So it will forward the root request packet which it has received from node 2. This will avoid the redundancy, means redundancy will occur if it sends both these root request packets forward. It must discard any one of them based on the delay. When an intermediate node in the path moves away, means a path break, causing a wireless link to break, a root error message is generated from the node adjacent to the broken link to inform the source node. The source node reinitiates the root establishment procedure. Let us see. See here, this is the source node. Here a link has been broken, means it has parted. 15 node it has parted. It has gone into another network. So this adjacent node, the node adjacent to this node is 12, right? Here we have link, right? So this 12 will initiate a root error message. See, it has initiated this. It goes to source node. When an intermediate node in the path moves away, causing a wireless link or path break, root error message is generated by the adjacent node to inform the source node. This source node, then it will reinitiate the root establishment procedure because it has to recalculate, right, the entire route from the source to the destination. The cached entries at the intermediate nodes and the source node are removed when the root error packet is received, as the cache does not want any broken links. So the intermediate nodes and the source node are removed when a root error packet is received. If the link breaks due to the movement of edge nodes means nodes which are at the edges of the whole network, the source node again initiates the root discovery process, means we'll have to again find the root as there are no other alternative routes. So we'll see the advantages of this DSR. No need to periodically flood the network with table update messages like in table driven routing protocol. This is an advantage. Route is established only when it is required, and hence the need to find routes to all other nodes in the network is eliminated. This is also a good one, as in table driven routing protocol, every second you need to calculate the routes, not literally like that. When there is more number of path breaks, you have to calculate, right? Reduce the channel overhead. How? Because of this update messages, the channel will always be overhead with these update messages. And the disadvantages of this DSR algorithm, DSR protocol is disadvantages. Root maintenance mechanism does not locally repair the broken link, as we have seen in this example. Connection setup delay is higher, as we need to calculate the route on demand. We have this connection setup delay, which is not there in the table driven routing protocol. Performance degrades with increasing mobility. Yes, this is an important point, as we have to calculate the setup, route at that point. If the mobility increases, the performance will decrease, right? Because of the route re-establishment process, route reconstruction process, these are the process they have to go through. Routing protocol is involved due to source routing mechanism. There, see here, the route request packet is generated by the source, right? So routing overhead will be involved here. Routing overhead is directly proportional to the path length. Because of this path length, because of number of nodes between source and destination node, the path length increases, due to which routing overhead also increases. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you find my video worth watching, please do subscribe to my channel and check out other videos in my channel too. Thank you.